Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order and declare that we do have a quorum this evening. And we are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Autumn Ford from Hancock Elementary. If you would please stand and remain standing after the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I've already told you you're my favorite part of the evening. But I see that you have some people with you. Would you please introduce them to us? Is her mic on?
Welcome.
Thank you.
What your sister's name is? Reese. Pretty name. We could call you Reese Cup.
Now, I'm pretty interested. You were born in Southern California. You're a Marylander now, but that's a big transplant. I have a daughter in Southern California, and I can't get her to transplant. So with winter coming up, you're okay with that? How long were you there? Oh, you probably don't remember it anyway. Snow for you. You're a Marylander now. How about your interest? What's your major interest? It is. It is. That's great. And where do you dance? And you're just beginning to play basketball? Who are you playing for?
Hancock?
Ah, there we go. I knew the mic was not on. Okay. Now, this is going to make everyone in the back of the room very, very happy. What's your favorite subject?
Math.
They're all cheering back there. But what do you want to be when you grow up?
A marine biologist.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Nice.
You might end up back in Southern California then. I have to say that this meeting always starts on such a positive note because students like you agree to do this. Thank you so much. Colleagues, do you have anything you want to say?
Great job.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second? Second. All those in favor? Unanimously approved, which moves us to approval of minutes.
What did I do with
Motion to approve.
that? Oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
President Zentmeyer, I move for the approval of the open session minutes dated October 21st, 2025.
Do I have a motion?
That is a
Second. All those in favor? Okay.
President Zentmeyer, I move for the approval of closed session minutes dated October 21st, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any corrections? All those in favor?
President Zentmeyer, I move for the approval of the business meeting minutes dated October 21st, 2025.
Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Any corrections? All those in favor? Approved unanimously. Thank you. Which brings us to I know, I'm waiting for the sheet. Brings us to public comment. I need to read a few instructions from KD. Hopefully you have your listening ears on. Thank you so much. Each person wishing to address the Board of Education is required to sign up prior. Obviously, I have the log now. Speakers may speak on anything that pertains to Washington County Public Schools. the educational environment, the student well-being, school operations, but not naming names. Anything that falls out of these parameters, including personnel or student matters, which clearly identify individuals, are inappropriate. Each speaker has 4 minutes. The timer will be used. Once the speaker begins, the timer starts. A green light will be displayed. When you have 30 seconds left, a yellow light will come on, and then a buzz, and your mic goes off. If you're unable to conclude your comments, you can always email us at wcps.k12.md.us, and which is always helpful anyway, because then we have a written record that we can refer to. So at this time, Caitlin Snodgrass.
Good evening. My name is Caitlin Snodgrass. I'm a resident of Hagerstown, and I'm here to inform you that Maryland is allowing thousands of children to go missing from public schools every single year. What's even more concerning is that Maryland State Department of Education is hiding the data for the younger children who are going missing. Maryland is hiding Code 50 data for children between kindergarten and 6th grade. And Code 50 is when children are withdrawn for consecutive absences. They are not receiving education and their whereabouts are unknown. Last year, we had 11,000 children between 7th to 12th grade go missing from public schools. Again, this is less than half of our school children. Why are we hiding the data for younger children when they're more likely to die of maltreatment? 215 of those went missing from Washington County. Please note that I asked this board to include on its legislative agenda for 2026. I asked you guys to support legislation that would employ the assistance of law enforcement to find these children, because schools are limited in their investigational capacity. They cannot locate all of these children and return them to the classroom quickly. Dr. Savine mentioned that you guys have a 90% success rate mitigating returning the kids to the classroom last year, the younger ones. And please understand that I came to this issue because I found a boy who became Code 50 for the second time in his life at only 7 years old. Both times he was re-enrolled was because of me. And I'm sure that falls into your success rate, which is completely fine. But that also tells me that 10% of those children could be dead in an alley somewhere. So that is not good enough. You guys have admitted that schools are limited in their investigational capacity. All I want is for law enforcement to be able to find these kids, because we are 20 minutes away from 3 different states. If they're out of state, law enforcement will be able to locate these children. I have requested Code 50 data for the younger children in 7 different districts, and that is slowly trickling in. Baltimore County had 914 children between K through 6 go missing in one school year. Please understand that many of these children end up dead. How many times do we have to read in the paper that these children are starving to death and they're not enrolled in school? School can save kids' lives because they are eating and they're being seen by mandatory reporters. If the only thing that we can guarantee them is 8 hours of normalcy at school, then we should be making sure that happens for all of these kids. For us to the public has no idea about this issue, by the way. The only time it's reported in the media is from the angle of wasted tax dollars. Apparently almost $1 billion have went towards educating children in Maryland that stopped showing up since 2019, almost $1 billion. And mind you, they're only estimating that using the numbers between 7 to 12, because no one's ever even asked how many of the younger kids are going missing but me. And I'm not paid to do this. I don't work in the system. But when I found that little boy 3 years ago, he's told me, Miss Caitlin, you know, I've never been to second grade, but I'd really like to go. And you know what? I made damn sure that that happened. And I would like to know why this was not included on your legislative agenda this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken Lesher. Ken Lesher. Ariella. You're gonna have to help me with the second name, Baker.
Baker.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ariella Ajungba Baker, and under the Maryland's Center for School Safety, I did research with a mentor, basically just looking to reverse the declining rates of cognitive performance and mental health in students. And I kind of just wanted to give a quick summary of that research because there are a lot of things that require, you know, more funding and things like that that aren't necessarily realistic or plausible as of right now for schools to have, but something that can be simply done is just making school environments more optimal, specifically in the classroom. So I basically did a survey and then did related research on 7 different areas of classrooms and decided what would be best for students. So things that provoke positive feelings such as happiness and just lack of stress are the things that will give the biggest boost in students' cognitive performance and also their mental health. So this means that whenever, you know, teachers pick their students' partners, it just reduces stress and anxiety, especially for students that aren't maybe like the most outgoing or maybe don't have the most friends. And then desk arrangements that are in groups rather than isolated also provokes interaction between students and then again boosts their mental health and cognitive performance. And then decorated classrooms rather than students that are in a classroom where, you know, the walls are blank and there's just a lot of white, you know, classrooms that have student work on the walls and also related like subject things on the walls, like maybe grammar things in English classes, and then also a combination of warm and cool colors, and just overall trying to stay away from blank and neutral colors as much as possible, just like creates a more welcoming environment for students, and then it also helps their cognitive performance as well. And then when it comes to lighting in classrooms, natural lighting is most preferred by students, and then super bright lighting can cause feelings of stress, while super dark lighting can cause, of course, students are going to fall asleep. That's pretty obvious, I feel like. And then if natural lighting isn't necessarily possible, I know a lot of classrooms have an option where you can have like levels, and so just not doing the highest level of lighting is overall best for students, but also just kind of giving students that option just makes them feel like they're contributing to their classroom environment and like their voice is heard, which is really important because a lot of students feel like their voice isn't heard, and so just giving them those options is super important. And then also, when it comes to noise levels in classrooms, whenever there's group projects and things like that, it can get super duper loud. So just making sure that those voices are controlled, but also that's, you know, obviously in, you know, certain circumstances like tests and things like that, silence is necessary. But when it comes to independent work, allowing students to listen to music or the teacher playing calm music themselves can just really help the students be more productive and just feel better in their classroom environment overall. And then also when it comes to temperatures, these are things that aren't necessarily easy to control, but I know that some classrooms will feel super duper hot to students, others will feel super cold, which can just cause stress in students. And so trying to keep that temperature in classrooms controlled, whether this means the teacher has like a fan or something like that, just to keep the classroom around 72 degrees is the most optimal temperature for students, just to help them feel calm and not focus on things like their temperature is the best for students. And so those are the main areas that I focus on researching and connecting to students' cognitive performance and mental health. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about it. I was advised to talk about it at the Board of Education just because it's an easy way for teachers to hear about this. So these are things that aren't necessarily super expensive and can be easy fixes for teachers as they choose how to decorate their classroom this year or in the coming years.
Thank you. Jody Bowers. Roger Stenerson.
Have copies headed your way, board members. Good evening, Dr. Zentmeyer, board members, Dr. Sovine. As you know, I'm Roger Stenerson, Communications Director for Rising to Learn. Pleased to be able to speak with you here again this evening. I'd like to focus tonight on a number of things, all of which are perceived as positives. It's fitting to do so in this season of Thanksgiving and intentionally place our focus on a number of factors that support the learning and development of students. First, our diverse community provides for the exposure of students to a wide range of perspectives. Some years ago, a magnet school in our county held a multicultural day, which had as its goal to broaden student understanding of their greater community. I also recall a week-long exchange program between students on Smith Island in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay with students at a Washington County middle school, which incidentally provided the first live glimpse for some young islanders of a cow. Of course, while we all benefit from these experiences, so especially do our students. Second, it's appreciated that the public, on behalf of whom you lead the school system, has access to you in this forum so we can make known to you our thoughts and comments. It's noteworthy that at last month's meeting, shortly after you returned the board meetings to an evening hour, you heard from more speakers than at any board meeting in the last 6 months. As President Zentmeyer has stated, you value the input of the public, and Rising to Learn is pleased to have advocated for the return of board meeting times to this evening hour so more people can attend and share their input. Third, Rising to Learn wishes to highlight for the public that Dr. Sovine and his staff have been instrumental in refining and honing the programming and effectiveness of WCPS. Indeed, it's an honor to have as our school system's top officer the president of the Maryland Public School Superintendents Association, a true leader of leaders. We're fortunate to have such positive leadership in Washington County schools. Fourth, as we know, you will concur, it's vital to have the support and cooperation of the many community members who populate school system committees and assume both leadership and line roles in our school organizations, such as boosters and PTAs. How could we do what we do without the cooperation of the many business partners which provide students with apprenticeship experiences, as well as the religious community members who provide Micah's backpacks to help feed students over weekends? Of course, a precursor to participation is knowledge. And Rising to Learn is grateful to be a force multiplier in this regard by providing access for our public to summaries of board meetings and other information which is helpful in following the workings of the school system. In fact, we will be posting on our website a new series of interviews with VIPs who play key parts in our school communities. Our first interview will be conducted this week and will soon be posted at our website, which can be found at risingtolearn.com. Finally, we'd be remiss not to highlight the countless contributions made by the special individuals who make up the teaching, administrative, and classified staff working on behalf of our school system. The everyday work of these valued persons who strive every day to make our classrooms welcoming, accepting, safe, and conducive to learning for each student is sometimes overshadowed by other organizational challenges, but it is most appreciated. And so those of us at Rising to Learn wish WCPS employees and you board members happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Carol Mallon. Pam Aviston. Oh, Carol is here.
To get myself together. Good evening, Dr. Zentmeyer, Dr. Sovine, and members of the board. I'm Carol Mowen, President of the Washington County Teachers Association. This is American Education Week, a tradition that began in 1921, the same year as the Washington County Teachers Association. This annual observance reminds us that public education is a shared responsibility, one that depends on educators, parents, community members, and elected officials working together to build strong schools that meet all students' needs. The work of educators is increasingly difficult in a hyper-partisan society where state and federal laws don't align and the funding to meet mandates and expectations that judge our work and our students' progress is either not provided at all or is tied up with strings that we cannot control. I hope that this week you will ask educators who work in our schools to share their experiences with you about the circumstances that we need your help to change, and that you will listen to us. The harm that excessive standardized testing causes to authentic teaching and learning, the lack of support for what's best for brains and bodies of students and educators, the need for adequate funding to maintain and upgrade our aging school buildings so that every classroom has safe, reliable HVAC, lighting, and learning spaces, and the growing demand for support and resources to meet the needs of dysregulated students and ensure safe, supported environments for all. We also need for you to clearly hear our respectful request that you enforce your own policy KD, titled Opportunity for Public Comment at Board Business Meetings, Town Meetings, and Public Hearings, and the procedures concerning such proceedings. On March 18th, I provided public comment to you regarding the then proposed changes to Policy KD. Since that meeting, WCTA members have continued to be dismayed as some speakers have continued to violate the policy. At the September 23rd meeting, WCTA members called on this board to rule a speaker out of order for violating one of the provisions in Policy KD, and we were silenced. In response, on October 6th, I sent a letter to the presidents of the Maryland State Board of Education and the Maryland Association of Boards of Education, sharing my concern about this matter. In it, I noted how some individuals have been allowed to repeatedly violate the policy. For example, at the January 21, 2025 business session, Mr. Gesford extended friendly banter with one of the speakers who has disrupted meetings and who then creates rage bait videos to post online, noting that this speaker would be allowed to go over the time limit if needed. As elected school board officials, you have an obligation to provide for safe and orderly Board of Education meetings where individuals are held accountable for their violations of this policy. Just as the employees of WCPS are obligated to uphold BOE policies in our classrooms and schools. Your lack of policy enforcement puts our privacy and due process rights in jeopardy. This affects both the overall morale of school staff as well as the day-to-day operations in our schools. The response I received from State Board President Dr. Joshua Michael encouraged me to engage in direct dialogue with you on this matter. And so this evening, I'm providing you with nearly 300 signed postcards asking that you enforce Policy KD and engage in dialogue with us to bring these disruptions and violations of Policy KD to an end. Thank you.
Pam Abston.
Good evening, Dr. Zentmeyer, Dr. Savine, esteemed board members. I am Pam Abston. I am going to speak from 3 different platforms tonight, so hopefully I can move quickly. I am the WCTA Vice President. I am an educator at Williamsport High School. In that vein, I would like to recognize the veterans who have sacrificed and whose families have sacrificed so that we have the rights that are in our Constitution and the rights to speak and to function in our country. So for all of you who are veterans and the veteran teachers with whom I work every day, I humbly respect you and thank you for those rights that you've given us. Now I'm going to shift hats, and I'm not going to be your employee for a moment, please. I'm not going to be WCTA Vice President for a few moments, please. I just want to speak as a lover of democracy and an American citizen. Leadership looks very simple from the outside. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Leadership from the inside looks very different. It can be very controversial. It can be very personal. It can be very gut-wrenching. It can be very time-consuming, and it can cause personal anguish. Having been there, I understand that. So I'd like to speak allegorically tonight about a situation in my life, and hopefully you'll accept the allegory. I am a leader of a mom and pop basketball team. It's funny because some of your employees in the back were teasing me, Dr. Willow in particular, about this because we have a connection in basketball. I had a young person come to my team who was an excellent ball player, great starter, role player on an advanced team. But we have tenets on our basketball team, and they are faith, family, and education through the vehicle basketball. And when this player came to my team, it brought great disruption. It caused a lot of angst within my parents and a lot of difficulty within the ranks because our tenets were not being followed. The tenets that we stood for, the ones that we said. We don't have a policy, KD, but we have principles and expectations. I have walked in your shoes. I know how difficult that is. It's very difficult when you have principles and policies to uphold. From the outside looking in, it's a very easy task. From the inside looking out, it's a very difficult task. I want to thank you for your courage to do that. I want to thank you for reading that before every board meeting. True leaders arise in difficult times, not during easy times. I want to thank you for being the educational leaders and decision makers for all Washington County children and for standing up for what's right in this forum so that we can reach all families and all children. I'm thankful for your role in our community, and I thank you for your time. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Dave, Dave, are you going to speak?
What name are you calling? Dave Williams.
Not be working.
Good evening, I'm Dave Williams. I live in Smithsburg. At your last meeting, I called for the resignation of Vice President Gesford based on his bigoted Facebook posts. Even after his so-called apology, he continued to post xenophobic and anti-Muslim memes and videos. All of those questionable posts have since been scrubbed from his account. Tonight, I'd like to thank the only board member who went on record last month directly commenting on Vice President Gesford's anti-Muslim Facebook remark and expressing at least some level of disapproval. So tonight, thank you, Mr. Burkett. You began one sentence in your response to public comment by saying, quote, "While I may not agree with Mike's comment," and then you continued, Mr. Burkett, I'm going to assume, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that by saying may not agree, you were in fact at least disagreeing with his comment. That was the understanding that I took from your remarks. So thank you for going on record by directly addressing his comments. My question tonight is, where do the rest of you stand? I realize that Vice President Gesford has no intention of resigning. But as a board, you could censure him, you could vote to remove him as your vice president, you could call for his resignation, you could petition the State Board of Education to remove him. As a board, do you have any intention of doing any of those things? If so, when? If not, why? Speaking for the board, President Zentmeyer said, quote, "The comments of one individual board member do not reflect the positions, policies, and missions of the Board of Education. While board members hold personal opinions, the board's collective work remains focused on providing a safe, respectful, and welcoming learning environment for each student in Washington County Public Schools." Based on President Zentmeyer's statement, I can only hope that the board collectively disagrees with Vice President Gesford's bigotry. But collectively only requires a majority agreement. So it's possible some of you might share his prejudices. I'd like to know where each of you stands individually. Hopefully, 5 of you will join Mr. Burkett to publicly condemn your board vice president's religious bigotry and xenophobia. I look forward to a direct response from each of you. Our community deserves a direct response from each of you. Last month, the speaker, a gentleman also spoke who created the petition calling for Mr. Gesford's resignation. That petition is still live. If anyone has not signed it, you go to change.org, search for Gesford, and you'll be able to sign that petition.
Ethan Mullen.
Good evening. My name is Ethan Lowen. I wanted to speak about what the previous speaker spoke about, actually, which is, he was speaking for against the board vice president and some Facebook posts. And as far as the Facebook posts go, I mean, I know of two. I don't know if there's others, but I mean, I don't support those Facebook posts. What I do support, however, is when he gave a response at the last board meeting. And he was not a Facebook post, but actually timed to give a full-bodied response. I 100% support that, what he said. And he started out by saying, well, actually, my mistake was that I wasn't clear enough. And essentially, to summarize what I got out of his response, was he said, with the board, you have to stand for values. And so with DEI, which is something that basically is bigoted in the sense that what it does is it takes individuals, it categorizes them and says people in this category, if they don't necessarily qualify, they should still be given preferential treatment in certain ways. It's unfortunately decimated many groups in the student body by over the years throughout Maryland because it's been applied to giving them grades as opposed to giving them an education. The damage is extreme. And he said, and when it comes to the idea of with the Muslim community, it's not about Muslims. It's not about the community. It's not about the individuals. But there is a concern that within certain elements of those who follow Sharia law, which is what is referred to in the religion of Islam, that the treatment of women and the LGBT community in particular is the exact opposite. That things that they do deserve and do qualify for, actually they don't necessarily get. And so regardless of where the bigotry is, and I support that statement. I mean, I think that is certainly something that can be discussed. With that being said, what the real issue is here is really what is going on with the public schools, because this issue gets at the very, very heart of what's going on with the public schools. Because what the board vice president expressed is something called critical thinking, where he took both sides of an issue and he said, he found the principles that guide you through every situation. What are the foundational principles that are the guiding light to determine right and wrong and what is functional? Whereas the individuals that are calling for his resignation or whatever they're calling for, they're like, you know what, you're a bad person when you say that women and LGBT individuals shouldn't get preferential treatment. Oh, and by the way, you're saying that you're also a bad person when you're saying that women and LGBT community should be protected from the possibility of not getting the full credit that they deserve. That's not critical thinking. That's something called critical theory. And critical theory is essentially when and it started in colleges, and it says you take an issue and you criticize that issue, right? And you come up with the criticisms, and once you don't ever argue the other side. You don't ever argue whether you're supporting or not. You don't argue the other side. You just stay critical. And so what happens is that in this case, it's a political criticism. So they have a political opponent, and they criticize that political opponent regardless of the values. But that's not the primary issue that's being illustrated here. What's being illustrated is that it's a way of thinking, it's a way of decision-making. And so when this critical theory has taken over our public schools over a period of decades, right? It started in the 1940s in Columbia University, spread from there. But it is, how can you make proper decision makings about behavior, about budget, about everything, when really you're following a system of bigotry, not finding the guiding principles? Thank you.
Alina Chester, did I say that? My mic on.
Good evening. My name's Alina Chester. I'm a parent of 3 kids, and they're little, and one's in a WCPS school right now. In my day job, I work with school budgets, and so I've been kind of looking into your legislative priorities and Blueprint for Maryland. And just go ahead and start the time. Sorry. I probably won't take all of it anyway. And I just wanted to kind of, as a parent and a budget person, make some requests as you think about your budget moving forward and for the next school year. I saw that in Blueprint for Maryland, there's competitive grants for pre-K 3. And I think, that would be excellent for our community, and I would urge you as a board to please consider going for those grants or actively seeking them out. I also have heard from a lot of members in the school community that we're really in need of behavior specialists and security. It kind of seems to be an ongoing issue, so to also prioritize that. And then in your legislative report, it looked like we're the only school district that pays for our school resource officers completely with school board funds, as opposed to using our ability to go out to our Board of County Commissioners and ask them to support something that really is a community issue, school safety and our community safety. It looked like we get about $300,000 in a grant from the state to pay for our school resource officers, but we're using $1.3 million of school board funds, which really should be going towards education directly, that we could be requesting from our Board of County Commissioners. So I would ask you to please consider that. Yeah. Oh, and to address a prior comment, I feel that I work with a lot of principals, and I feel like not everybody's aware that the E in DEI is for equity, and equity is what our Title I funds are based off of. And any principal will tell you that a student or a school that is a Title I school really needs those funds. So equity is really important in our school system. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeannie Massey.
Good evening. My name is Jeannie Massey. I am a parent. I started my career in Washington County Public School and had some great lessons from a certain board president sitting before us today. I want to echo what the young lady said, first of all. She talked about the impact that teachers have and the environment of a classroom has on student mental health as well as student success. And I want to encourage the board to consider ways to respect the teachers that have that role, to give resources for those teachers to do that job better. Also to consider training for things like grouping and collaboration. That is certainly something my son comes home and says he's not experiencing a great deal of what I would consider good pedagogy when it comes to behavior management towards achieving classroom goals. I think that good teaching really needs to be rewarded, and it's not about reading scripts. I've noticed that a lot of the elementary school curriculum is now scripted, and teachers are literally punished for not reading a word in the script. I think it's more about supporting the young people through relationships and through the material that the teacher should be respected to have conquered through the long time they've spent becoming a teacher, through pre-service programs, through national board certification, through advanced education. I also want to speak tonight about something that sits at the core of education, community, and democracy. The example that adults set for young people. At the board meetings, President Zentmeyer opens every public comment with the policy, and that policy exists for a reason. It protects the dignity of our community, the families that watch the board meetings. Even if there aren't children in the room, there are children in the homes of people watching. And I think that it's appropriate to consider that just as a classroom teacher, students see when rules are and aren't enforced, whether it's appropriately cooperating in the classroom, if a teacher is or isn't teaching bell to bell, if a teacher is ignoring the dress code or enforcing it, whether there's profanity allowed or not, whether there's, even it's reporting students that go missing in the middle of class, take the bathroom break for an hour, and teachers don't report it. That sends a signal to young people. The same is true here. When the board itself does not model civility, consistency, love, and courage for every single baby in our school system, it teaches the wrong lesson. It tells our students that disrespect and hate and arbitrary enforcement is acceptable. Consistency builds trust. Trust creates respect. Respect opens the door to love. And love is what makes our schools, our communities, and society a better place for everyone. We cannot ask our students to build a respectful school culture one-to-one in small groups in an entire classroom if we don't treat each other with the same level of respect, not just for each other in front of us, but for the humans in our society. This is not about politics. It's about the moral and civic responsibility of those who lead public education. The school board carries an ethical duty to uphold policy, protect the educational environment, and ensure that public meetings reflect the dignity we expect in our classrooms. Our children deserve to see what democracy looks like when it's practiced with integrity, consistency, and love. And I think on the eve of the 250th of the Declaration, we should all be examining what that love means in a society where we have to participate with each other to build something better. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Ford. Wow. Sean Ford.
Oh, sorry. Good evening. I was just waiting for the timer, sorry about that. Anyhow, I just wanted to say it is great seeing you all here. You guys are doing a wonderful job. I just wanted to, basically, I have nothing in particular to talk about this evening. There's really nothing going on in Washington County Public Schools that is of concern to me. It's mostly what happens at these meetings. But I just want to say to all the critics of free speech in the room behind me that spoke, the teachers union representatives, the two men from the teachers union, it was like the president and the vice president of the Washington County Teachers Association, those two dudes. Censorship is not the way to win anything. The solution to free speech that you don't like is more free speech and better free speech than what the other party has. And if you can't step up your game, maybe your side is the losing side because you have bad issues to run on and people are rejecting the sort of policies that the teachers associations put forth in our schools. In regards to Mike Gesford, duly elected board member resigning because 500 people who didn't vote for him in the first place signed a petition online. That's ridiculous. Mike, I just want to let you know that I would follow you into heavy machine gun fire, and I think you're a great leader. And the reason why I would follow you directly into heavy machine gun fire is to use you as a human shield so I don't get hit. But anyhow, I literally have absolutely nothing to say. There's a situation going on next door in Frederick County, and I'm hoping that Washington County Public Schools is watching it very closely. This is a matter of significant concern to a lot of people. It has now been alleged that a principal in a neighboring school system covered up certain issues they had at Oakdale Middle School and was actually complicit in the goings-ons. I've disclosed this at the last meeting. I sent you guys emails. I'm pretty sure you got the documents that I sent. But essentially, the administration was protecting teachers based on their gender ideology. So they were protecting a transgender teacher at the detriment to the students, and very serious harm befell those students as a result of these ridiculous policies pushed by the people who spoke before me, the Teachers Association individuals and a lot of the loopy-doopy lefty people that just got done talking. So essentially, by catering to gender ideology and acknowledging trans people as actually existing and being real, a lot of kids got hurt. I sent you the documents. I'm not going to discuss it based on who's in the room with me here this evening. By the way, I see, is that Commissioner Derek Harvey's young little mini-me version sitting back there? Is it? Right there? Next to me. So anyhow, okay. But as a result of that, I'm not going to go into any detail with what happened there, but I did send the emails to you guys today. It is absolutely horrible what happened. My concern is that maybe you guys don't have a reporting structure like FCPS had. No way, there was no checks and balances to ensure that the principals and the administrators did the right things and reported to law enforcement immediately when this teacher started videotaping and photographing children and then sharing the videos on social media and calling them cuties, which was extremely disturbing. But basically, I would hope that WCPS and you find people have some sort of policy where anyone that acts like that would be monitored and possibly this thing won't happen up here in Washington County with you fine board members, which does include Michael Gesford. So anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Which brings us to board member response to public comment.
Yeah, I signed up, but I guess we couldn't hear you say names.
What?
Ken Lesher?
Oh, I called him earlier. He wasn't here.
No, we were here, we can't hear you.
It's kind of hard to hear back there. Good evening, and thank you for giving me the privilege to speak to you. Before I get into what I'm going to say, I'm Ken Lesher. I'm a teacher at Williamsport High School, and I would love to recognize our ladies volleyball team for what they did and went through. Was amazing, especially in the situation. In addition, I would also like our coaches recognized as well as our other fall athletes, because the majority of the time they were away team, and the coaches came through as well as the athletes to represent Williamsport. I've been 20 years as a teacher, and as I stated, I'm at Williamsport High School at this time. And something that's very important to a teacher is respect. We don't want respect given to us, we want to earn it. I have been fortunate to be at several different schools, starting out at Boonesboro Middle School, where I was a beginning teacher, and many of the staff members helped me. Because being a rookie teacher, you learn a lot. Along with those, you got to put in the paras. Excellent jobs. Many of them helped me through. The secretaries, many of them, they run the school, but they are helpful, as well as the maintenance people. Without each part and without the respect, the school system would not make it. And I have been privileged to meet many of the teachers at Boonesboro Middle. Then I went to U. Russell Hicks. I will always love that staff. For when I was going to work one day on my motorcycle, I was in an accident, had to be life flighted. The staff helped support my wife. I was 2 hours away. Teachers came and visited me. I got cards from students. And I need to mention students as well, because we have the privilege of seeing our future, as well as they teach us as we go along as well, which is incredible. When I came back after a year, I went to Clear Spring Middle School. The respect the staff gave me and helped get me acclimated to teaching. I didn't realize being gone for 1 year, I was missing a lot. So they were helpful to me. Then I went to Hancock Middle High School. The staff was supportive to me, helped me learn the culture, helped introduce me to some new technology. Even though I had more time than them, I appreciated the time they gave me. And finally, at Williamsport High School, with the situations that we have dealt with, we have all come together to give the best education that is possible. And I truly appreciate the new staff I'm with and the sense of humor they have and the dedication to our future. In the end, all we ask for is respect that we earn. And I know I'm stating a lot of the obvious, but sometimes I think we need to step back and just understand what we are all about. We are humans at the end of the day. We go beyond the classroom, all of us. We support the community. We help other communities. And we always worry about our students. More importantly, we try our best. Yes, we make mistakes, but we learn from it. And at the end of the day, it's got to be about respect. Thank you for your time, and have a great Thanksgiving.
All right, now, do you happen to be Jody Bowers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I called you like 7 people ago.
Yes, I know, but when you called, we can't hear you back here, which is why we missed some of it. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. Good evening. My name is Jody Bowers. I've worked for WCPS for the last 13 years. I'm also one of the building reps at my school. I'm here presenting to address two concerns. My first concern is the lack of leadership I witnessed at last month's meeting during public comment. I was extremely disappointed. As a board, you have established the policies we must abide by when addressing you here in public forum. However, I watched as an individual spoke and clearly did not abide by your policies. I watched you while he was speaking, not him. Your presentation and lack of leadership with this issue gives the perception you enjoy this type of commentary and disrespect. You all sat and watched the show like a train wreck. Your policy clearly states a community member can speak unless it disrupts a public meeting, language or conduct that is profane, boisterous, insolent, or offensive will not be permitted in order to maintain an environment conducive to the board's educational mission and responsibilities. Your policy also states it is reasonable, respectful, and civil to expect and request that all speakers during public comment hold to the same standards of speech and conduct expected in public schools as outlined in the Board of Education policies and administrative regulations. I watched as a community member performed for his audience. He addressed you, was vulgar, profane, and offensive, and he also went off topic on his own tangent. His performance is for clickbait, and you allowed it. His behavior should have been challenged. As a community, we have every right to come and speak, but per your policies, we have guidelines we must abide by. Am I to assume by your lack of leadership and lack of action that vulgarity, profanity, and offensive behavior is your mission? You have not fulfilled your responsibilities as they pertain to the policies that you set forth. How is your community and staff at WCPS supposed to trust and respect you when you cannot follow your own policies in the face of a public forum? It concerns me, then, what might be happening behind closed doors. My second concern is your letter of attendance for staff. With this policy, you're giving the perception you do not trust the leadership team you hired running your schools to lead and hire professional adults. As a staff member, if I miss 7 to 10 days of work, I get an attendance letter. I am not sure who thought treating the professional staff you hired like children was a good idea. This letter does nothing to create an environment where your staff feels supported by you. As a mother, I've taken more days than I wanted because of my children. I was a single parent due to the death of their father. My daughter has Crohn's, required infusions, hospital trips, and doctor visits. Imagine trying to deal with your own health issues or taking care of a sick family member, and you get a letter addressing how many days you've taken. We feel guilty enough. We do not want to take those days. The amount of stress and time it takes to make lesson plans for a sub is astronomical, along with the stress of being sick or taking care of a sick family member. If the letter is to address those who abuse the time, then the leadership needs to have the conversation with that individual. Too many times, blanket emails are sent to staff due to one single staff member. There is no need to make your entire staff feel shamed because of one person. Sending a letter about attendance is demeaning, and you are putting undue pressure on your principals and APs to enforce this. The principal and APs at the school do not have time to micromanage professional adults about their attendance. They already have too much on their plates. And to the credit of the principals and APs in your schools, if they are doing their job, they already know the staff member who might need a little bit more grace with their time and the one who's abusing their time. Let them have the conversation with that individual. This policy is a waste of time and man-hours and only breeds contempt with your staff. Please stop the letters. Thank you.
Now, board member response. Linda, we'll start with you. Anything?
Yes, I have a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank the 12 people that came up here to speak to us. Greatly appreciated. We always like to hear what you have to say. Someone left that spoke, but I wanted to say to that person that stop saying DEI. If you're going to talk about it, say diversity, equity, and inclusion, because those things mean something. And the other thing I wanted to say, I will publicly say that I was one of the people that did sign the petition. That's it.
You turned it off. Oh. I'm still getting the hang of this thing up here.
First off, it is very, very nice to see everyone coming out. I like seeing young faces in the crowd, especially Ariel, I believe her name was, that left earlier. I appreciate any young person that comes up for public comment. If anyone has any issues, they can reach out to me publicly. I think my Instagram's on the website, or my Instagram and my email are both on the website. If you'd like to reach out to me in any professional regard about submitting public comment to the Board of Education. We all want to hear from students because ultimately that's our goal. We want to represent the students in the most effective way. I'm going to go back to something that Mr. Stenerson said about international, I think it was in his first point, the Diverse Community and International Club. I was actually the founder of an international club at my home school, North High. I'm currently serving as president, and every single once a year, we normally host an international night where everyone's able to bring in food and elements of their culture and share them with other people. And I believe that's a way that we can all, in a reasonable regard, share our diverse cultures. I'm Indian, and it's very interesting to see all different cultures connect together and create a nice little family. I strongly believe that everyone should feel included within their school system, and I believe that we should promote that as much as possible on a board level. Thank you, guys.
Hey, that was the most delicious night at North High. I look forward to it.
It's so good.
Mr. Burke.
Well, how comes I didn't know about that?
Gotta invite you next time. Next time it happens, we'll get everyone together.
I don't have anything.
Mr. Kessler. Okay, so we're moving into old business. The first topic is approval of the legislative representative and legislative response team. Dr. Savine? And how's you listed there?
Yes, President Whitmire.
Do you have something you want to say?
Can I make a motion?
Well, you can. I just wanted to make sure that he didn't want to comment on the legislative.
All right, well, let me
session.
make the motion and he can speak on it.
Okay.
I'd like to make a first motion is to move to nominate Dr. April Zentmeyer, Board Member Charlie Burkett, and myself, Michael Gesford, to serve as the Washington County Board of Education's legislative response for the 2026 Maryland legislative session.
Do you have a second? Second. All those in favor? Unanimously approved.
I have a second motion. I move to nominate and approve Jamie Brown to serve as the legislative response on the legislative response team for the 2026 legislative session.
Do you have a second? Second. All those in favor? Unanimously approved. Did you want to say anything?
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
President Zentmeyer, Vice President Gesper, members of the board. It's certainly an honor to serve with as a part of the legislative response team. Appreciate our three board members that are part of that process, our legal team, and certainly our Representative Jamie Brown. We look forward to engaging in this upcoming session and prioritizing and advocating for the board's legislative priorities.
Thank you. So we'll move to new business now with the consent agenda. Mr. Bagel, what do you have for us?
Way back here. Good evening, President Zentmeyer, members of the board, Dr. Sovine. Tonight I have 7 items for your review. The Purchasing Review Committee has reviewed these items and they are being recommended for approval. And staff is available if you have any questions.
Do you have a motion?
I've got a question for you, Dr. Zentmeyer. Are we not supposed to have that up on our board? I want to make sure that the public can see.
Oh, yeah, the consent agenda, sorry. Thank you.
We are having some technical difficulties
Yeah,
with
there were a
sound and
few.
video.
That's all
Yes.
right. As long as it's, we can get it up there on the board so that our people can see that. So I'll go ahead and, or I think someone was going to make a motion.
Yes, I need a motion.
I move to approve the, what was that?
The consent agenda.
I move to approve the awards, renewals, and procurements as presented at the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, now for discussion. Does anybody have anything that they want to discuss or questions?
Question for Mr. Bagel. On the renewals, have we have we put them back out there for bid, and we found that these are the folks that are still accepting renewals at the same price, or is it just a renewal as in like, it's renewable for 2 years and we picked up the renewal for that, so we don't have to bid it out?
Correct. That's the second, yes.
Okay.
Anyone else? We'll move to the vote. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Which brings us to Mr. Prue. A memorandum of agreement between the Board of Ed and Boonesborough.
Good evening, Dr. Zentmeyer, Mr. Gesford, members of the board, Dr. Savine. The matter before you is memorandum of agreement by and between the Board of Education of Washington County and the Boonesborough Athletic Boosters for a public-private partnership. This project entertains to make improvements to the athletic facilities at Boonesborough High School, relocating the baseball field, updating the softball field with a new press box and batting cage, installation of artificial turf in the football stadium with new goalposts, lights, and improvements to the existing concession stand, and also construction of a new multi-use practice field.
Do you have a motion?
I move to approve the memorandum of agreement between the Board of Education and the Boonesborough Athletic Boosters Incorporated Public-Private Partnership.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Yes. So I'm going to start by apologizing. I know this process hasn't gone super smooth. There's been a lot of back and forth. I wholeheartedly believe we do need to do a project. Our athletes deserve better, and they deserve updated facilities. I'd be completely lying if I said I knew anything about sports fields. But another board member was very passionate about artificial turf, or about not using artificial turf, rather. I assumed at the time it was a little bit of a preference argument or something that could be maybe figured out. I heard there were concerns about maintenance, so I assumed, oh, we can add some language and overcome that in the MOA. But the concern of our athletes' safety still had me troubled. So I did a quick Google search. Don't worry, I'm skeptical of Google searches, and I didn't just take the quick summary. I did find a lot of pros and cons when you talk about natural grass versus artificial turf. But what I found troubled me from the NFL Players Association. In 2024, 92% of NFL players want grass fields over turf. In an article, the president of the NFLPA said, the data supports the narratives you'll hear from me and other players. Artificial turf is significantly harder on the bodies than grass. Data collected over 6 years shows players have a 28% higher rate of non-contact lower extremity injuries when playing on artificial turf. Of those injuries, 32% are knee injuries, 69% are foot and ankle, and again, these are non-contact. This is just contact with the field. So based on this data, I do believe the proposed artificial turf is a safety concern for our athletes, so I'm hoping we can revise to a natural turf, but because of that, right now, my vote is going to be a no.
Anybody else?
So I will piggyback a little bit on what our board member just said. I also did some research. I've never really been a big proponent of artificial turf because, of course, I watch football. I see a lot of our players get injured, and so I'm really on board with the percentage of people that are getting hurt, and also the percentage of players who do not like to perform on that. 15% of or 15 NFL teams are on grass right now. And there's more teams that are building new stadiums that are going away from the artificial turf. They're going back to the grass field. That being said, I also have to look at it from a standpoint of monetary. You know, I, as a board member, have to remember that I'm never going to be here forever, and that this is a possibility that's going to come up in years to come, because we know once you set a precedent that you've given one high school a field, then another one is going to come and ask for a field, and then another one, and then it goes down to maybe to the middle schools. We really can't afford to continue to do that. Even though that we do have partnerships in the community, that if it goes away and they say, okay, my 4 years of being the parent, and I've done all the fundraising, I'm going to step aside, that you have to hope that the next group of parents will pick up the baton and carry that and continue to fundraise and to fulfill the obligations of loans. And also, when we have to replace fields, that money has got to come from somewhere. And so I know with North High, when we had that discussion, we actually had to put a cell tower up there so that we could help fund that project. And I think Smithsburg did the same thing. We put in a cell tower there. Some of that money will go back into the athletics to help boost those funds. I just think we're putting an awful lot of burden on the county that if the school system can't pay for it, I think, and Jeff, help me out, is it $500,000 for replacing?
Probably somewhere in that avenue. I think the last replacement we did at North Hagerstown High School was a little over $400,000 5 years ago.
So that's a pretty heavy lift to keep putting back onto, to the taxpayers. And for me, I also am concerned about the safety. I don't like it. I feel for Boonesboro because they definitely need some of this project. I mean, I'm for that. If they could have just taken out the turf fields, especially a practice field, I mean, it's not even going to be like during games. It's just a practice field. I would probably vote yes for it, but tonight I'm going to have to say no, although I support them getting, an athletic complex together, and I want them to succeed, but that artificial turf for me is a no-go, so I'll be voting no for that tonight.
Dr. Zentler?
Yes.
Mr. Prue, when we replaced North High's field turf, where do we get the money for that?
The first replacement came from the general fund. Future replacements will come from the proceeds of the land lease coming from the cell tower on the North Hagerstown High School campus.
Okay. And if Boonesboro pays for this artificial turf, and down the road when it needs to be replaced, how much would it cost to tear it up and put down grass?
Easily be probably the same cost as a replacement on putting new turf right back down in place.
Okay, and so how much does it cost to maintain a grass field?
That's a difficult question to answer. Costs include water, fertilizer, grass maintenance in terms of regular lawn care, so forth, aeration. Some of the struggles that we have as a school system, and I know a lot of the discussions tonight are about finite resources, financial, manpower, what have you, is that our stadium fields get used for all sports and get used really hard in the spring and in the fall. If we want to talk about this topic and we think about Boonesboro, Boonesboro, of course, has got football, varsity, and JV. They have girls flag football, varsity and JV, soccer for both boys and girls in the fall. And so when you think about peak growing season for grass in the fall, that's when we're using the field the hardest. You turn around in the spring to your other peak growing season, and you're using lacrosse, which oftentimes can be even harder on a field than soccer and football. And so the fields never get time to rest and rejuvenate, and that's part of the challenge we have in maintaining our fields at a high level. They're irrigated. We run irrigations all summer. Boonesboro's irrigation runs off of a well that's been installed, so we're not running off town water. But there's probably a lot more maintenance that needs to go into those fields if they're going to be maintained in peak condition. The board may remember that a donation was made at the start of the summer this year. I think we approved it in May for install in June for a donor to resod the field because the condition of the field had gotten to really just an unusable state. within the first fall season, the sod is degraded to a point that, truthfully, it could be done every year. And that's a significant investment that raises the costs.
The other question I have is, we only have one turf field right now, is that correct?
We have two.
You have
One
two?
at Calais Stadium at North Hagerstown High School and one at Smithsburg High School.
Have we seen any increase in injury on those two fields versus the other fields that we have with grass?
I could not answer that question. I'm not privy to that information.
Okay.
If it helps the board, and dating back in some of our history, the board paid for the first replacement at North Hagerstown High School. When we did the public-private partnership for Smithsburg High School, that agreement included, with the boosters paying for that first field, they also provided seed money for half the cost of the first replacement. This agreement that's before you tonight is another step further. It's paying for the booster club pays for the initial field. It also provides the funding for the second replacement. So while it is cost and it is kicking the can down the road, the board's obligation to this field in terms of turf replacement is probably about 2 decades from now.
And that was my question. They had agreed to pay that heavy lift themselves, not us.
That's correct.
Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes. I want to speak on this not as much from a football perspective, but from a marching band perspective. I was the drum major of the North High's marching band for a year, and I also am an active marching bass drum. I love marching bass drum. As a marching band member, it's so much more difficult to march on grass fields. Namely Boonesboro and South High. At South High, we'd always have jokes that there were dog biscuits all over the field because it was just chunks of the dried dirt that we would trip over. Speaking as a bass drum, you would always face the opposite direction of where you're marching, and ultimately you can't see where you're going ahead. So all the dips and the curves of a field that is not maintained to the highest degree can cause a major chance for injury. I know multiple people that have fallen. One of my good friends, we went to Annapolis Stadium for a field trip, and he fell straight down on his drum, and he sprained his whole leg. There is a benefit to turf, especially in marching band alone. And I know Boonesboro has an active marching band that also contributes to the usage of the field. I have had good experiences in Mike Calais Stadium on the turf, and I believe that it has helped our marching band be a little bit better.
Thank you, Mr. Birkin.
I just want to make sure that it's also said that they have to raise all the funds before they can do this work. And I was going to ask that you clarify too, that they do have to come up with the funds for the second replacement. And they have to have those second funds in hand before they can start the project as well? Is that true? Or?
So the way the agreement is written is on bid day, when we receive, prior to the board approving a contract to do the improvement, all of the funds for that construction contract have to be in our hands, as well as half of the first replacement of that turf, and then the remaining half is paid in equal installments within the first 5 years. So that by the time you're halfway through, in theory, the life of the turf, the Board of Education has the money.
Any other statements?
I just have a quick question, and I'm sorry, you've talked about the replacements, and I'm not specifically asking about the funding piece of it, but are the life expectancy based on just one sport being played on the field? I think you mentioned 2 decades from now, so we're assuming that a lifespan is 10 years on a turf field. Is that taking into consideration our specific scenario where there's multiple sports being played on it?
I don't have any reason to believe that the amount of sports we have on it would reduce the lifespan of the field significantly below a 10-year, and in theory, potentially a 10 to 13-year life on an artificial turf surface.
One last thing. I was talking to somebody from Boonesboro, and they happened to mention that in reality, a lot of the teams that they play already play on artificial turf, especially in Frederick County. And so, anyway.
All right, let's move into the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries 4-2. Student concurs. Which brings us to Mr. Prue again.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Advertising rights for Smithburg.
The matter before you now is approval of some advertising rights for Smithsburg High School's Athletic Booster Club. In September of 2024, the Board of Education approved a naming rights agreement and advertising agreement with the Booster Club, allowing them to find sponsors willing to advertise within the athletic facilities, and those funds then turned over to the Booster Club to support athletic and academic adventures within the school. You have two names before you this evening.
Do you have a motion?
I move to approve the assignment of advertising rights as requested by the Smithsburg High School Athletic Booster Club.
Second.
Second. Sorry.
Discussion?
Just questioning, we are following a policy for all schools. I mean, there's a lot of this tonight, so I just want to make sure that it's the same policy we're following. Okay.
Yep, we have memorandums, not yet with all of the high schools, but we're working through that point. But I think we are 4 of the 7, or 5 of the 7.
Let's move to the vote. All those in favor? Approved unanimously. And continue with Smithburg.
And continuing, the next naming right I have for you is with South Hagerstown High School's Athletic
South.
Booster Club. The Board of Education entered into their MOU for advertising rights on April 16th of 2024. And I have before you naming rights pursuant to that memorandum this evening as well. I believe there are 2.
Meyer, I move to approve the assignment of advertising rights as requested by the South Hagerstown High School Athletic Booster Club.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion, questions? Let's move to the vote. All in favor? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Which brings us to May board nominations. Well, the acceptance of those nominated for the Maryland Association of Boards of Education, MABES, committee assignments. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the self-nominations for MABE committee assignments as presented by President Zentmeyer and the sending of the board endorsements of those nominations to MABE.
Do I have a second?
Do you want to list the people?
Huh?
Do you want to list the people?
I'm going to impress into serving.
Okay.
Second.
Yes, Mr. Burkett will, well, let's get the second. Mr. Burkett will serve as our legislative representative. I will serve as budget. And I don't have my paper in front of me.
Procedures.
Policy, Victoria. Now can we move to the vote? All right, those in favor? Passed unanimously. Thank you. Dr. Willow. You
Good
have some money
evening.
for us, honey?
Good evening, President Zentmeyer, Dr. Savine, and members of the board. I'm here this evening to ask for your approval of a donation from Volvo for $25,000. As you may recall, Volvo sponsors us yearly with this donation. We greatly appreciate it because it supports all of our VEX robotics programs at our elementary, middle, and some of our high schools.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
President Zentmeyer, I move to approve the donation of $25,000 to the Washington County Public School VEX robotics program.
Do I have a second? Second. Thank you. Any discussion, questions? This is such an awesome, awesome organization, and we're so grateful that you're bringing it to us. Yes.
Sorry, I'm talking a lot tonight, I guess. As a member of the Cisco AI program at Tech High, getting into robotics throughout elementary school is something that fueled my love for computer science. So I'm really happy to see that we're still supporting it.
We'll move to the vote. All in favor? It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Did you? Cox?
Good evening, President Zentmeyer, Dr. Sovine, and board members. I am requesting approval to accept a donation of $12,524 from SAT Fundraising, Leading Edge Fundraising, to support the North Hagerstown High School Band Boosters. These funds will be used to purchase band uniforms to support future performances and band travel.
Do I have a motion?
President Zentmeyer, I move to approve the donation of $12,524 from SAT Fundraising, Leading Edge Fundraising to support the North Hagerstown High School Band Boosters.
Do I have a second? Thank you. All those, any questions? Yes, Mr. Burke?
No,
Oh. Move to the vote. All those in favor? It passes unanimously. Thank you. And for Smithburg?
I am seeking approval to accept a donation of $150,000 to Smithsburg High School from PAA Foundation. These funds are to be used for the Smithsburg High School auditorium renovation.
Do I have a motion?
Zentmeyer, I move to approve a donation of $150,000 to Smithsburg High School from PAA Foundation.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Any questions? Move to the vote. All in favor? It passes unanimously. Thank you. And Clear Spring?
I am seeking approval to accept a donation of $10,000 to Clear Spring High School Athletic Department from Hagerstown Area Police Athletic League. These funds are intended to support the eventual establishment of a wrestling program at Clear Spring High School. The donation will be held until plans for the program's implementation are finalized and a start date is determined.
Do I have a motion?
President Zentmeyer, I move for the approval of a donation of $10,000 to the Clear Spring High School Athletics Department from the Hagerstown Area Police Athletic League.
Do I have a second? Second. Any questions?
Do you know when they're going to start that program?
No, probably in the next couple of years. They have to continue to raise some additional funds, and then they'll be able to implement that.
Anyone else? We'll move into the vote. All in favor? Unanimously passes, which brings us to
Boonesboro. I am seeking approval to accept a donation of $25,231.02 to Boonesboro High School from the Boonesboro High School Athletic Boosters to support the Boonesboro High School volleyball, golf, boys soccer, and cheerleading teams.
President Zentmeyer, I move to approve a donation of $25,231.02 to Boonesboro High School from the Boonesboro High School Athletic Boosters.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, the 2 cents, where does that come from?
Based on the breakdown, it must be to pay a particular bill that has 2 cents in it for a particular organization.
Okay, we'll move into the vote. All in favor? It won't. It passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Penny is going away.
Dr. Willow, personnel?
Good evening again. I'm here to seek your approval of personnel actions discussed in closed session earlier today.
Do I have a motion?
Meyer, I move to approve the personnel actions dated Tuesday, November 18th, 2025, as presented in closed session.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you, which brings us to you.
Thank you, President Zentmeyer. And as the board's taken action on the personnel matters, I want to take this opportunity to announce and congratulate Matt Tack, the new principal at Sharpsburg Elementary School. Mr. Tack was previously assistant principal in multiple elementary schools, at Salem Avenue, most recently Lincolnshire and Ruth Ann Monroe Primary School. Prior to becoming an assistant principal and moving into the administrative ranks, also served in a variety of roles in a number of our elementary schools at multiple levels. So congratulations to Mr. Todd. Also, just kind of moving into my report, hiring and keeping teachers has been a challenge for school districts across the nation, and WCPS has made strides in attracting talent to our school system and providing new teachers with the support to them to allow them to grow and develop as educators. At this time, I invite Ms. Joni Burkhart, Mr. Tim Haynes to come forward and present some data and some strategies we've found to be very helpful. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Zenmeyer, Dr. Savine, and members of the board. My name is Tim Haynes. I'm the Coordinator for Talent Acquisition and Development, and I'm joined by Joni Burkhart, Supervisor of Professional Development. So this is our annual report we give every year. I like to start off with teacher turnover over the past 5 years, just so you can see any trends. While this number is a little bit higher than it was last year, you can see that as far as resignations and terminations go, this is right on par with where we have been. There is some variance on retirements for this past year and non-renewals. But again, if you look over that 5-year timeline, you will see that it really doesn't stand that far out from some previous years. Those two just happened to hit at the same time this year to give it a little bit of a higher number. Next, we're looking at teacher applications submitted. So you can see that we've seen an uptick over the last several years. We had been on a downward trend. I will remind, I will let new board members know that this is total applications received. This does not mean qualified applicants. This just means that they have applied to a position whether they are qualified or not. So when you see a number like 1,700, you're like, my goodness, why do we have any vacancies? Well, it's because either individuals may be applying for multiple positions if they are licensed and are qualified, or they may not be qualified, or we do get, like many districts, we get a high number of applicants who are looking for us to sponsor a H-1 visa, which means that they are not U.S. citizens and they need that sponsored, which we do not do. And so those are not qualified applicants. But you can see we are on a positive uptick over the last several years. Next, these are just some of the ongoing recruitment strategies that we use. It's really the two major drivers are in-person teacher recruitment fairs, which we attend in a larger swath. We'll go as far sort of northwest as Pittsburgh, down into Virginia, into the DC, Baltimore area, and up. We have previously done some specific fairs in New Jersey, sometimes in New York. It just depends. We don't get, generally people will not move here for a specific position. They're moving here for other reasons. But on occasion, if it is, again, a specific position like speech-language pathology, we can pull from a wider area. But for most teaching positions, we're really looking in that 50 to 100-mile radius around Washington County. And again, some of the other, the other thing is that really the online space is where we're finding a lot of applicants. We do paid sponsors. All of our positions go into Indeed, but we also do paid sponsored advertising there. We also have expanded more into Google Ads recently, which have been very productive, and still utilize social media to get that word of mouth campaign, job boards, billboards, and that sort of thing. Really the direction that we're moving in, where we see a lot of potential for future growth, are growing our own initiatives. And so over the last several years, we had partnered with Frostburg State University in the Maryland Accelerates program. The grant funding for that has ended, so this last cohort were just hired as teachers, but that was a successful program where we had roughly about 25 individuals that already had a bachelor's degree that were placed into their accelerated Masters of Art in Teaching program. So that was a very successful program that if we ever found funding for it, is definitely something that we would look forward to participating in again. This year, we have another program with Frostburg, and that's it was part of their REACH grant, but we've dubbed it as the ESP Teacher Pathway Program. It's one that's specifically designed for individuals that hold at least an associate's degree, or they may have a bachelor's degree, but it's something that's not related. But they are in a 2-year program that they will continue to work in the position that they have currently now, and then next year, the board had approved to have their positions funded or filled with a substitute teacher while they're doing and fulfilling those student teacher requirements as part of that program. So it's really looking at primarily paraprofessionals, but we've also had some administrative assistants that have applied to this program and in some other ESP areas, but really getting them from support staff into those teaching positions. And so we're very excited. We're also working with the Maryland State Department of Labor on the Registered Apprenticeship Program to help fund this and find ways where they can still have a salary and benefits, which is usually a major hurdle for anyone who's looking in transitioning into a full-time teaching position, because in the past they've had to stop working while they were doing their student teaching, and that's been a major hurdle for getting individuals into those teaching, into becoming teachers. And I also just wanted to highlight our student apprenticeship reading tutors. The board, this was a priority this year in expanding that program, and we're very appreciative that you've put that into the general fund. And so I'll be sharing data later in the future on what this is looking like. But we've already seen about 25 or 30 of those individuals over the past several years when this program first started, transition into substitute teachers and paraprofessionals. And so we're really seeing this as a teacher pathway program that can kind of feed itself throughout the years as we see our students become the future teachers for Washington County. And then one other thing I wanted to mention as far as new initiatives, looking at that number of non-renewals that we had, which had been on the uptick, we really wanted to start looking at the kinds of candidates that we were bringing into the county. And so that's why we worked with our partner, our AIB representative, when we still had her with us this past year, to look at that initial interview process, because we're getting fewer qualified candidates. So we wanted to ensure that the ones that we were selecting are the very best, and so that when they came to Washington County, they were here to succeed. And so really what we focused on were two things. We looked at what does our job description say, and that's what those core competencies are that are listed there. I won't read them. But these were the things that we're looking at that were identified with staff here at CES and representatives from our schools, that these are the 5 components that make a successful teacher. And so that's the kind of candidate that we're looking for. And so that was written into our job description. So our job descriptions will be going out very soon, so you can see those. Those started last year. You can see exactly what those core competencies are. We lay those out to our candidates so they can see them right up front. And then we created a new initial screening process for all candidates where they are being interviewed by content specialists and mentor teachers. And the questions, so in the past when we did screenings, they were generally like 20 to 30 minutes. They were really quick. We were just trying to get through them as quickly as possible. We slowed the entire process down because we wanted to ensure that we were finding, that, again, those very best candidates that would succeed and be with us for their entire careers. And so the questions that we ask are much more in-depth. They all hit these 5 areas of competency, but the number one thing that we're looking for is that growth mindset. Can they come in, regardless of whether they have experience or not, understand what we're trying to do curriculum-wise, and fit into what we're trying to accomplish with our students. And so, Joni may want to speak to this later, but we've really seen, it has been mentioned that this new class that has come in has looked very different, that the quality of candidates of the teachers has been noticeable, and we really believe it has a lot to do with this initial interview process. And so we're excited to see this continue, and we hope to see that trend in the right way, and we will see those non-tenure numbers continue to decline. Moving on, so this says as of November 18th, we had 181 new teachers. We actually have 183 now. The HR team never stops. So anyway, this was a photo taken from our Teacher Induction Academy back in August. So if you're really good at counting heads, there are not 181 there. There are only 70. Just quickly, I wanted to say that the majority of our teachers, again, they are attending Frostburg State University, Shepherd, Shippensburg, Towson are the major feeders for our local school systems. And then online, number 1 is probably Liberty University Online, Grand Canyon, and Western Governors are our top 3 there. Number of teachers hired, you'll see we're trending in the same direction as we have been. That one anomaly in '23 was, of course, when we, the primary driver behind that was when we added our supplemental math and reading teachers for that year. So that's the real anomaly there. But we're right on target with those. Just a quick snapshot on what it looks like by content. Of course, elementary is always our largest. Special education, of course, and then you can see up until about 3 years ago, we would average maybe 5 or 6 new math teachers, and we're regularly in the 20s now, considering our emphasis on that content area. A little bit about our new teachers. So we've had 39 of our new teachers were substitutes with us. 31 were student teachers. 10 were paraprofessionals. That was up from six from last year. So there's, again, is a number. We want to see all of these numbers start to trend up. Other ESP were 2. Teaching experience, so 44% of those, this is their first experience teaching. And then you can see the other percentages. Just one thing I'll note, we did see an increase of 6% of those that had 10 years or more. And so it was exciting to see that we did have more experienced teachers coming in this year. Not that we don't value our first year teachers, and again, a lot of those are student teachers with us, but it's good to have that mix in our schools of new and experienced teachers. And now I will turn it over to Jody.
So, good evening. I'm pleased to offer a brief overview of our highly successful Teacher Induction Academy, which serves as the foundational orientation for our newest educators. And this includes classroom teachers, school counselors, social workers, special education case managers, and special program teachers. This past August 12th and 13th, Washington County Public Schools welcomed 170 first-year educators at South Hagerstown High School. The academy was strategically designed with 3 critical objectives to ensure our new educators were prepared for the first week of school. The first was curriculum integration. Our content specialists and supervisors familiarize staff with the high-quality instructional materials and essential curriculum needed for student success. Our second was offering professional guidance, and these critical connections with the teacher induction mentors allow the new hires to collaboratively plan and cultivate safe, rigorous, and engaging classroom environments. The third thing that we accomplished was the community celebration with our business partners with more than 30 local businesses. And they allowed us to formally celebrate and integrate the new educators into the Hagerstown community and the professional culture, which they are now building within Washington County Public Schools. So I know I say this every year, but I'm going to say it again, and with conviction, the caliber of our new educators is exceptional. We have successfully recruited and hopefully will retain these fabulous educators. So, however, our commitment does not end with orientation. That was just the beginning. Throughout the year, we drive professional growth for our new educators. This development is spearheaded by the teacher induction mentors and lead teachers who partner with our new educators in structured coaching cycles, which lead to personalized support for first, second, and third-year educators. The cycle is simple and powerful. We identify goals based on the current classroom reality. We learn new strategies to improve student learning and enhance instruction, and then we work with them to improve. And we do this by implementing strategies, modeling teaching practices, co-teaching with the new hires right there in the classroom. In addition to individual coaching, we offer collaborative professional learning sessions after school. These opportunities help educators connect the dots between the curriculum, the classroom environment, and the overall structure of Washington County Public Schools. Ultimately, what we have found is this: our new educators feel a profound sense of purpose that's so important to teaching. when they understand the alignment of the curriculum, the classroom environment, and the Washington County Public Schools structure. The cornerstone of our support system is our team of 8 dedicated teacher induction mentors whose sole mission is the sustained growth and development of our first-year teachers. As you can see on this slide, we ensure comprehensive success by creating a wide-reaching professional network. Every new teacher is connected directly with their content specialist, their principal, and importantly, their experienced teaching colleagues. Throughout the second and third year, our lead teachers continue to support school-based and team coaching to develop a better understanding of the curriculum and how students learn. When needed, the teacher induction mentors add an extra layer of support for the second and third year educators. We also offer specialized professional learning for our second and third year teachers. For second year teachers, we offer professional learning and working with multilingual learners, special education students, and using technology to differentiate student practice and quality AI practices. And this year, a new series for third-year educators has been developed in the evidence-based science of learning research. This structure throughout the first, second, and third year ensures that both student success and teacher success are fully supported. On our last slide here, the teacher induction program is a key component of our overall retention strategies. We continue to work closely with our new educators, not just for 1 year, but for 3 years. We know this important work is not done in isolation, and we are profoundly thankful for the collaborative spirit across the entire district. This includes partnerships with senior leadership and administrators. The teacher induction team meets with the administrators to ensure ongoing support and provide practical coaching. Our content specialists and experienced teachers. Curriculum does take a minute to understand the how and what we are teaching, so we lean heavily on our content specialists and our lead teachers. And I also want to recognize the crucial role that our experienced teachers play in working with our new educators. They allow them to visit their classrooms, discuss what is working, and how to make changes, both in curriculum and in the classroom environment. Also important is the essential support from human resources, benefits, technology, and other coaches across the district. We do not hesitate to use these critical resources to provide our new educators with the best and most knowledgeable resources. We also recognize that while we're trying to make systematic gains, we must personalize the experience of every new educator. Some educators come with a vast amount of experience. Some are brand new. Some have lived here in Hagerstown all of their lives. And some are just moving here. So throughout their 3 years, we look for ways of continuous connection to Washington County Public Schools and to Hagerstown. And of course, I don't want to forget you, the Board of Education. We recognize the important role that you play with new educators, not only financially, but also communally, to help us hire and retain our new educators. In the teacher induction program, we continue to align our plans with a strategic plan and the board's vision for the future. We have a saying in teacher induction program. Our commitment is unwavering. We believe in doing whatever it takes to help every new educator develop, thrive, and achieve long-term success here in Washington County and in the city of Hagerstown. Do you have any questions for us?
Just real quick.
Sure.
Do you know how many of these first, second, and third year teachers stick around into their fourth, fifth?
Yeah.
What percentage?
Yes, so right now, we in Washington County Public Schools are beating the national averages. Tim, you might have like the exact number. The 10% is usually what you lose of educators nationally. We are below that. We are only at 5 or 6%. I don't have the exact number in front of me. Does that sound good?
7, but
7, okay.
That's still better than
That is, we are still beating the national average, and so we do a lot of things to help them remain here, to stay here, introduce them to new people, new ideas, new ways of thinking, the curriculum. Yeah,
good.
so we're winning.
And I just wanted to say that the mentorship program is unique to our system, and so that's a major recruiting tool that I use all the time, and it's the one thing that engages candidates the most when I talk about what we do.
One time that you help people find places to live as well.
We do. Yes, I'm always afraid that somebody's going to say, hey, can I stay with you? Which the answer will be yes. I want you all to know that's the kind of house I run. We do. Housing is a major concern here through the state of Maryland and in Hagerstown. So we're always looking for places. Well, we don't recommend, like, you should stay here. We do not do that. We do have a list of available places to rent and to stay. They do look for affordable housing. So that's a major component.
I will add that it's not always been that situation, because I think when I came on the board, we were bleeding, and we were trying to figure out ways to stop that bleed, and I think you and your leadership, both of you, have really enhanced that whole program. I know the tutoring was a great tool for you guys that we were able to do, and I think it continues to be, but you guys have really stepped up, and I know both of you have worked very hard, and it shows in everything that you do, especially with your teacher induction. That is just a really good program, and I think that really sets the stage for a teacher coming in to see how much you've invested in them, and then what the school system wants to, and how important it is for them to be there. So I think we really need to thank you guys for your continued hard work, because this is not easy. I know, Tim, I think, and we were really scrounged, and even going further than the little boundaries that we were in the beginning. I mean, we were shooting way out there trying to figure this, because I think in the beginning we were just saying, like, well, we're just out recruiting, and it wasn't just everybody was doing it. So we had to figure what would set us out different, and I think you guys have hit that, and I think the board through the years has hit the mark. And I hope that we can continue to have successes. And as long as you guys are here, I'm pretty sure we will. So thank you.
I speak for all of us when I say thank you. Thank you. Not only for the success that you prepare for our teachers, but for supporting them long after the beginning. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Burkhart is departing. I just want to add to the sentiments of the board. We're very fortunate to have creative, innovative thinkers really thinking differently in terms of how we can keep our best teachers. Those retention rates, I know I have colleagues across the state and nation that are envious of that, so thank you. Also want to extend appreciation to all of our mentor teachers, as well as our lead teachers in our schools that play a critical part in the development of all of our educators. So thank you. Now very excited for the next report. We're proud to announce the first step in reopening Williamsport High School. This weekend, the school athletic center reopened for the start of winter sports. So we'll have practice and competitive events with students, staff, and community members at Williamsport High School. At this time, Dr. Gary Willow, our Deputy Superintendent, and Jeff Prue, Chief Operating Officer, are here to join us and to take a closer look at our progress at Williamsport High School.
Thank you, Dr. Savine. Good evening again. I think we want to start, both Mr. Prue and I want to start with a thank you. There's some slides here at the beginning that wouldn't be possible really without the work of our staff, our students, our parents, and the Williamsport community. As I get updates from Mr. Knoll, who was here, I think, 2 presentations ago with Williamsport High School, the principal, it really is quite remarkable as they think through different challenges and how they can support their student population. And so, some of the slides that we're going to start with are really just a continuation of what he shared with you earlier. The staff and the community continue to rally and try to come up with different ways. I never thought I'd say boo-ingo at a Board of Education meeting. I had to make sure I spelled it correctly. But the fact that they're coming up with different activities such as bingo, senior breakfast, how can we still have field trips? And then the community hubs, which again is a testament to the Williamsport community. I want to make sure that that those watching understand that Williamsport United Methodist Church, Halfway Bingo, McCleary Hill Community Center are giving up space for our students to come in daily, to participate in virtual instruction as a group, to get social supports. And I think, again, that's a testament to the support of the Williamsport community. And then, of course, what are seniors doing right now, right? They're applying for colleges. They're looking at different career opportunities. The fact that, hey, we can still have in person, we can do virtual. The school is thinking through different things, and just because we're not in the high school yet, and our goal is to get there as soon as possible, it doesn't mean that we can't do some of the things that we would normally be doing. So really a credit to the staff for the work that they do. Mr. Prue, you want to go to the next slide? Student success and enrichment highlights. I think we had a speaker earlier. A shout out to some of the athletic programs, really all of them, for a successful fall season. But we did have CMC champions in boys soccer, along with volleyball. And the fact that volleyball played all of their games on the road, I think, again, is a testament to the coaching and the players and the parent support. Of course, I think we talked a little bit, Mr. Knoll told you all that the Creekside Manor worked with running a haunted house for Williamsport community, and that was a success. And then, of course, as I shared, some of those virtual Wildcat workshops around mental health, career, and enrichment activities. And they still found ways to bring in community members to the different home football games. They really took advantage of that, the movie nights. And again, a credit to the students and the staff. Winter athletics. Now, somebody reminded me that these are pictures of Springfield Middle School. And why would I put Springfield Middle School on a Williamsport High School presentation? Because this is symbolic. This was, in my opinion it is, this was Meet the Coach Night on Wednesday, November 12th. And this was the last time we were at Springfield Middle, because as Dr. Svine took Mr. Prue's thunder, I'm going to turn it over to him to share that the gym is open.
You can always count on the boss to bury the lead. Good evening again. We're thrilled to have sort of met our first benchmark. The gym is open. We've been targeting this for quite a while, knowing that, fall sports, while I don't want to say what the girls volleyball team did was easy, playing basically outside of their home facility all the time, but all of our other sports could play outside and be outside the building. So finding alternate locations, quote unquote, was easy. Gym, when you talk about getting into the winter season, that gets a whole lot harder because everybody's inside, of course. But the surface and the duct is clean and cleared. And I want to thank our public information team. If you didn't see it, or members of our community didn't see it, they pushed out a little video last Friday to our Williamsport community, identifying some of the highlights of this sort of gym is clean and cleared process, but also highlighting a couple of the next bullets, which really is the ductwork. Interesting points. The ductwork for the gym area is not connected to the rest of the building. It's just straight up. They've got their own air handlers straight to the duct to the roof, so those systems can operate independently of what's going on in the rest of the building. And the gym level is sealed from the remaining section of the building. So if you're familiar with the building, down the hall by where the weight room and the concession stand are, we've actually built a little Z-shaped wall there to separate the rest of the building. It is drywall to the ceiling, plastic to the deck on both sides so that there can't be any contamination that comes from the other side of the building into the gym level to maintain the safety of that space for our athletes, our coaches, and of course the community as we into those spaces. I want to point out, of course, the air sampling, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this on the next slide. But air sampling, when we're talking about asbestos, we're talking about ability to be in a space and habitability. We're talking about standards under the Asbestos Hazard Emergency Response Act, what we just affectionately call AHERA, which is a United States Environmental Protection Agency standard. But that testing has revealed and confirmed 0 asbestos fibers in the gym section of the building. We also conducted wipe sampling inside the ductwork, as we've talked about. We're cleaning all the surfaces, we're cleaning inside the ductwork, and we confirmed 0 fibers inside that ductwork as well. There is not a standard for wipe sampling, but we are doing it because we feel like we want to know, and we have to have that data, but there is no official standard there. The standard for clearance is this air sampling, what's known as the TEM air sampling, TEM being the abbreviation for transmission electron microscope. And I want to set the stage for our community. While this first round of clearance testing for the gymnasium is fantastic, 0 fibers, what the standard really says is that you're allowed no more than an average of 70 structures per square millimeter as viewed under the transmission electron microscope. The photo you have here is actually a screenshot right out of our testing. Standard sampling is 5 test results in an area, and you can see that we had a non-detect on asbestos on each of our samples. But it is possible as we move forward that we may pick up a stray fiber in that air sampling testing, and it is perfectly safe as long as the average across that sampling does not exceed 70 fibers, 70 structures across that sampling. We are striving for 0. I want to be clear about that. All the work that we're doing is striving for 0. And as we get through some other slides, I'll show you some other things we're doing to try to get there. But I want to be clear with the community about what is the standard for occupancy and where we are really today. Looking at the ongoing cleaning work, I just want to take a moment for this photo. Kind of looks a little goofy, looks a little kind of sci-fi. But this is the back end, the head end, I really should say, of the duct cleaning system. So as the duct cleaners are working, they're really monitoring their device, which is up in the duct, through a LED screen, which is attached, of course, to the camera that is on that system that is up in the duct. The little wispies that you sort of see at the end of that rod sticking through are really almost like little, I'll call them silicone tentacles, that are really just whipping through that duct and pulling items off of the duct itself. As you look at the photo, in the near part of the photo toward to the bottom of the screen, it looks a little darker. That's actually a little shine coming off that metal in the ductwork. And what's more whitish further out is actually dust and material that's in that ductwork. Not that it's all asbestos. It might just be accrued dust over the years. It is a 60-year-old building. But as that whips around, of course, it cleans it. And the duct during this process is under negative pressure. So all of that material that gets swooped up into that duct while it's cleaning is being sucked out through filtration devices. So to give you a sense of the kind of work that's going on there. Current staff last week was 65 to 70 cleaners daily and approximately 10 staff members working on that duct cleaning process. The upper level is empty. The content decontamination is finally completed. The building, I joke the building is empty, except that we've started to move all the gym stuff back in. So, we're move it all out, move it all in. It's just, feels like Groundhog Day. We have cleaned the entire lower level classroom area. Is entirely clean. Basically from that new wall we put up in the hallway all the way back through the math science wing, all the way in the back of the building, what I would call the south end of the building. Everything is currently clean, and they are completing ductwork cleaning in that section closest to the near wall where the shop areas are. The rear section, the south section, that duct cleaning is already done, and we're moving along. Cleaning of the kitchen and the cafeteria is complete. We expect ductwork cleaning in that area to begin here before the remaining part of the week is over. And the ductwork cleaning for the kitchen and cafeteria will be complete before the Thanksgiving holiday, so next week. And as of this morning's progress meeting, likely by Tuesday of next week, I suspect the kitchen and cafeteria ductwork will be clean, allowing us to continue with some construction in that area. We're continuing the cleaning on the upper level south side, that's sort of the media center section of the building. And what we've done to sort of, as you think about this, we talked about the decontamination wall downstairs, this is the critical separation wall downstairs. We've created critical containment walls out of plastic. That's a normal process when you're doing asbestos work that separates each of these sections. So once an area is cleaned, those containments stay up until the adjacent areas are cleaned and so forth. So we're working systematically through the building to re-clean all of these areas. Cleaning of the upper level, the north side, sort of the auditorium side, should begin approximately December 1, which of course is the Monday we return from Thanksgiving. We'll keep that rolling. Ductwork cleaning will then shift to that south upper side of the building with the goal of all ductwork cleaning to be done by 12/23. Ceiling replacement is beginning here directly. And so we're starting to put ceiling tiles back into the lower level of the building to kind of restore this building back into a building again. Thinking about this overall cleaning project and some of our contractors, really to make the board and the community aware of some of the things we have going on. On the left side of the slide, I'll start there with contractors that are working on a time and material basis. Both of these firms are working under RFP 2023-2023. Excuse me, I think it's 2023-23. That was approved by the board during fiscal year 23, renewed during fiscal year 25. That outlines certain rates for this type of work. We sort of have that bid out there as a on-call emergency service contract. I don't think anyone envisioned we would have this size of an on-call emergency contract. Boggs Environmental Consultants is the industrial hygienist that is working on this project, acting as project manager, conducting all the testing. Estimated cost for them to complete the project is about $485,000. Retro Environmental is the firm that is actually conducting the cleaning, providing the cleaning workers on a regular basis. And based on work that's done and run rates, we would expect this number to completion of the project to be probably in the $3 million range. I've estimated $2.9 million here, but it's going to float maybe a little bit above that. On the right side are some emergency procurements that the superintendent has authorized to keep work moving ahead of the Board of Education schedule. I think I've said in previous meetings, there are people that clean ductwork, there are people that clean asbestos, but there are very few people that clean asbestos inside your ductwork. We received recommendations from various firms across the country that could potentially do this work. Of those 4 firms, 2 said, nope, actually we don't do that work, and we found 2 that did. Mission Contracting was one of those firms. They were the lower cost of the 2 firms. Utilizing the quotations we received, and the estimated cost to have all the ductwork cleaned is about $1.36 million. For folks thinking, as I said, they were the lower cost firm. I don't want people to think that we've accepted a firm that just can do it, get the work done at low cost. They're working on schedule, on a schedule that we've provided. And this is a firm that, does regular duct cleaning at places like NIST that need safe, clean, scientific areas. So we have full faith in their abilities. Rockwell Construction is another firm that is just beginning under bid 2026-25, and their project is the ceiling replacement to put acoustical tile back in all of the building, as well as to put in some new grid in a few other places. And the contract is estimated there at $297,000 for that work. As we think about our construction update, HVAC contractor returned to the worksite 10/20/25. They're actively working in all 3 mechanical spaces, the boiler room, penthouse B, and penthouse C. Other contractors will return to their areas as soon as we can provide them safe spaces to work in as that space they need is reopened. I think we expect the kitchen contractors to return right after the Thanksgiving holiday to begin working on that area. I know Mr. Burton has met with the flooring contractor for some of the flooring work that we were doing there about a schedule and plan for having them back to work. The electrical replacement project, I know we've got a plan for them as well to get back into a few sites. So actively working on all of that. The target date is still 1/21/26. That is the start of the second semester. We are, give or take, 8 weeks from that, with a lot of work yet to do, 2 holidays in that time that also will take away from some of the work time that we have. Everybody is pushing toward that date collectively between us, the abatement contractors, the IH, the contractors that have work to do. But I do caution, there's a lot of work yet to be done. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we'll meet the date, but I don't want to get anyone's hopes up at this point. So I want to be very real with both you as the board and with our community. And with that, we're happy to take any questions you may have.
Just a big hooray. Thank you so much for staying on top of this and getting it finished and getting our kids back into the building.
I'm happy to take that, thank you, but it's really the people in the building that are banging it out every day, the facilities team leading the project, and the staff at Williamsport, and the community that are living through this with us vicariously and with their kids at home and what have you, our students that are making really the best scenario they have out of the instructional, the virtual instruction, our teachers doing yeoman's work. While I have not had as much opportunity to be down at USMH and visit with teachers, I know Dr. Willow, Dr. Svine have had, and they've been truly impressed by the work that our teachers are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, moving on to my update. I have a number of announcements. I'm pleased to first mention that WCPS is preparing to launch a new and exciting initiative, an Army Junior ROTC program that will be offered at Hancock Middle Senior High School. It will be open to all current 8th grade students across the county, and they'll have the opportunity to apply and attend JROTC for 4 years, starting as freshmen next year. We shared a communication with more information just last night, and if you missed it, you can find the details on the WCPS website under the news section. Staff will be hosting a virtual information night on December the 1st, and you'll be able to register for that. You'll find many more details online, including frequently asked questions. And this morning, I had the honor of attending a special recognition for one of our students who is truly a hero. Kenneth Cavender, a 4th grade student at Emma Cave Dow Elementary School, saved his family when a fire started at their house last month. He woke up to a smoke detector sounding, and he ran to wake up all of his family members. He also took care of the pets, and so they could get outside safely. Kenneth credits the lessons he learned at Children's Village for knowing what to do. He also says his family had working smoke detectors in their home because of the Hagerstown Fire Department. When they were doing neighborhood checks this past spring, they provided 3 smoke detectors and saw that they were installed properly. Kenneth's story is one of courage and bravery, and it was good to see him recognized by our community and his school. The whole school was there in assembly this morning. I want to thank our partners at the Children's Village for the continued good and just making an impact with our students and our community. Next, this month, I had the honor, along with our cabinet members, of presenting 6 members with the Gold Compass Award. This initiative recognizes employees for exemplifying our core values: academic excellence, engagement, growth mindset, belonging, well-being, and community. The 3 teachers recognized from Williamsport Elementary School, 4th grade ELA teacher Kelly Miller Sechrist, and from Pangbourne Elementary School, 3rd grade teacher Ann Palmer, and North Hagerstown High School interactive media production teacher Marcia Sechrist. Then we also recognized 2 ESP staff from Jonathan Hager Elementary School integrated pre-K paraprofessional Erica Foote, and bus driver from Springfield, serving Springfield Middle, South High, Hickory Elementary, Eastern Elementary, and Ruth Ann Monroe Primary, Nikki Murray. And then finally, we recognize one administrator, Boonesboro High School Assistant Principal Elizabeth Comstock. Also on the topic of awards, WCPS is currently accepting nominations for the next Teacher of the Year. You can nominate one of our extraordinary teachers by going to the WCPS website. You can submit your nominations up until Friday, December the 5th. We look forward to the awards event in partnership with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce on April the 15th. To the parents of our elementary students, you should have received a printed copy of your student's report card last week. This year, we're backpacking home all elementary report cards each marking period, and we want to make sure families are informed and updated about their child's progress in school. And WCPS is also sharing more details about making sure you understand how your child is doing based on our grading system. Just look for the QR code on that printed report card. Lastly, as we enter the Thanksgiving season, I want to extend my gratitude to our board, our staff, and our school families. Thank you to the Board of Education for your leadership and your commitment to our students, and I'm grateful for the hard work of our employees and the support of our families each day. As a reminder, students will not be in school on Wednesday, November the 26th. That will be a professional development day for our staff. We will all enjoy Thanksgiving break the following Thursday and Friday. Hope everyone enjoys a safe, restful, and meaningful Thanksgiving. See everyone back at school on Monday, December the 1st. President Zentmeyer, members of the board, that concludes my report for the night and update.
Thank you. Now we have reports to the board. I'll start with CNI. Curriculum and Instruction met on October 28th at VISPA. Every time I walk into that building, I feel like I'm walking onto a college campus. It's just, and the remarkable things that they're doing there were highlighted. Thanks to Dr. Havermel and Ali Surabal, who hosted us there. Amy Saylor shared on math standards, homework, and resources, and it was very, very enlightening. Our next meeting is November 25th, 10:30, as far away as you can get, Pleasant Valley Elementary. And we will be looking at alternative programs, the program of studies, an elementary report card, among other things. And that brings us to you.
Facilities. We did not meet this past month, but we are meeting on the 25th at 1 o'clock here at CES. And it's kind of nice to sit out and look at the window on this side of the building because we get to see progress with our new school. So that's a part of facilities, and I'm glad to see that. So that's all I have.
Charlie, yeah.
Finance has a meeting coming up on January the 8th at 8:30 a.m.
28th.
Lynn?
I thought it was January 28th.
Yeah, finance.
We'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
I might have wrote down the wrong date again. I apologize.
Do you have anything to add?
It's in January.
CNI will meet this Tuesday, we'll meet Tuesday, December 9th at 9 o'clock in the boardroom.
It's really cold up here. We're kind of freezing to death up here.
You mean HR?
HR.
Yes.
Curriculum.
I'm sorry, yes. It is cold. I even have my gloves on, and it's not warm enough with those. Sorry.
Next meeting, we'll have board reorganization, recognition for student athletes, the Maryland Council of Teachers of Math, recognition for National Board certified teachers. We'll have a presentation on student enrollment and free and reduced meals and kindergarten readiness. And that brings us to board comment. Mike, you want to start?
Sure. I don't know, I never enjoyed fire drills, but I knew they were important. I don't know if we've ever thought about having a virtual snow day where, we kind of plan that out so that we don't wait till the snow day and then go like, oops. I don't know if there's something that we could maybe think about, maybe doing something before that time. I mean, it's coming up, and I'm hearing that they were supposed to be anticipating a good bit of snow coming up this year, so it might be best if we give that a trial run a day. I don't know how we do that, but it might be something to think about. That's all I have. Oh, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Mrs. McCutcheon.
I would agree. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
If the board would indulge me, first of all, January 28th is correct. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, you're welcome, but I messed mine up, so we're even.
I just had a couple things this morning. I attended a MABE Budget Committee meeting, and we approved their budget for next year. There will be no increases in our fees to be a part of MABE this year. They said that it's the third consecutive year that they've been able to do that. Over the past few weeks, I've been able to visit 10 of our schools, and they included Smithburg Elementary, Smithburg Middle, Smithburg High School, Cascade, Ruth Ann Monroe, Barbara Ingram. And by the way, while I was at Barbara Ingram, I was able to walk across the street to the Maryland University, where we have some Williamsport students working, and also a couple on the first floor, some teachers doing remote teaching. And so it was kind of neat to walk over there and see that. That was my first time ever in Ruth Ann, and is a really cool program over there. Was at Emma K. Dowd, E. Russell Hicks, Salem Avenue, and Marshall Street. And I just want to mention a couple highlights because I think it's important. It's always impressive to me to walk through these schools and stand outside of a classroom and hear the teachers teach. They do it with real passion, and anyway, I think that's something special. I'm finding that an overwhelming majority of our students are on board with the new dress code and cell phone policies, and all the teachers really appreciate those policy changes. Each school that we go to or we have is unique in its own way, and so it's nice to see some of these unique qualities as I go around to the different schools. And I just wanted to mention a couple just because they were special. When I was at Emma K., I was in Miss Arnett's fifth grade class. They were working on poems. This was the day after Veterans Day. And some of the students took time to read some of their work. And one little girl, and I wish I would have got her name, had wrote a poem on Veterans Day. And believe it or not, I can be a sentimental person. And I asked her, I said, does some of your family serve? And she said, yeah. And that was kind of neat. And then Dr. Savine already mentioned a young man. We were walking up the hall. I was walking up the hall with Dr. Henson. And she said, oh, here comes a young man I want to introduce you to. His name was Kenneth in the fourth grade. And it's the one that Dr. Savine he's the young man that Dr. Savine just mentioned. But he mentioned about the smoke detector and stuff, and that he put his two dogs in the car to make sure that they were safe and they weren't running. And he said he learned that at Children's Village in the second grade. And the last school I want to specifically bring up is Ruth Ann Monroe. I was able to get to meet some first-year teachers, which, by the way, it was nice to hear that update on our new teachers. But first-year teachers, Misty Brittingham and Lauren Fix, who both teach second grade. And I visited, I hope I get this right, Levine Campbell's Summit Classroom. And I bring Miss Campbell up because I was able to have a real conversation with her, and I appreciated her willingness to speak openly and honestly, including calling me out for a comment that I had made a month or two maybe ago. And I actually respected the fact that she was able to talk to me in a real way. And as we talked through the comment that I made, I think that there was some understanding on what I was really meaning by that comment. And so I would just say that, I personally appreciate talking to the students, the parents, the teachers, the administrators. And so, if I ever say anything that you question, feel free to reach out to me. And then let me just close with this. I met too many staff and teachers to name specifically, but I did not meet anyone who didn't seem to really love their job in the schools. And so thank you to all of our staff who make our schools safe and great for our students here in Washington County. And I would just close with wishing everybody a very blessed and thankful-filled Thanksgiving holiday coming up next week.
I know we talked about it prior to the meeting, but our WCAC, so Washington County Association of Student Councils, our upcoming meeting is December 12th, and we're starting to get all ready for that. Also, I agree with the sentiment, Happy Thanksgiving. I implore you guys, if you have any sort of excess resources, to donate to your local food shelters at this time. I know my school is hosting a big food drive to make sure our food shelter is filled, and just make sure that everyone in our community is able to have the same meals that we are.
Thank you. Linda?
Yes, mine's a little long too, and I apologize. I'll do it as quickly as I can. Since we met, I visited the Marshall Street School and the Job Development Program Fall Festival, which was really nice. They were able to hold it outside. A CCAC meeting, Special Ed Citizens Advisory Committee meeting here at the CES. I also visited the Williamsport High School in-person learning classes at USMH and got to talk to some of the staff. Of course, November 5th, the whole board met with the Washington County delegation, and it was really nice to see the whole board there this time. November 6th, I was at the BISFA Foundation meeting as the board liaison. Tori, April, Charlie, and I, and Dr. Savine and staff went to the Veterans Day program at Clear Spring High School, and that is just such a wonderful program. I love it every year. I was here for the Washington County Public Schools Education Foundation meeting as the board liaison. And then I visited Mr. Craig Eicher's summit class at Salem Avenue Elementary. He has a special program through Horses with Hearts from Martinsburg. And they brought the small horses to the school. And his class, his summit class, and another summit class, got to brush them, got to lead them around, got to pet them, got just love on them. And they were the sweetest horses, John Henry and Gracie. They were so adorable. I loved it. Tomorrow is National Para Day, so please thank a paraprofessional for everything they do for our students, and of course, Thanksgiving blessings to all.
So happy early Thanksgiving. I cannot believe it is Thanksgiving. Last week I was writing October on food that I put into my fridge by accident, so it came up on us quickly. Also, I just wanted to say how impressed I was. Visited Tech High a couple weeks ago. All the programs are just amazing. I went there during Leadership Washington County 7 years ago, and it was so nice to see everything. Great programs, and I'm really excited to visit the Future Star Salon tomorrow for a haircut. So when you see that, you're going to be there tomorrow. There you go. Also, I wanted to say thank you to the Clear Spring High School for the invite to their Veterans Day program. It was wonderful. I loved the entire program. I especially liked seeing the choir. It brought me back to my high school choir days. And even though it was a week ago, I just want to say thank you to our veterans who deserve a thank you every day.
Absolutely. Did you have anything? And this is why we do what we do. Our future is in schools today. And that future is so incredibly bright because of our teachers, our staff, our administrators, but especially our students. And tonight, I have my own fourth grader with me, who has sat here for 2.5 hours without fidgeting, and whom I am so incredibly proud. And with that, I have to say, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This meeting is adjourned.